Okay, so welcome back all to this tutorial. Now we're going to go ahead and implement our script within the C++ string. So I didn't actually want to retype all of this, so I just shared it to myself. I've set up a web server here for sharing, and I've set this up for myself, this small script. Don't worry, I will post this in the description so you don't have to type it in. This is pretty much the same as what we have written in the previous tutorial. Let me just see where it is. It doesn't recognize the format, sorry. PowerShell, I see, I do believe that it's that one. Hold on, so just file. Oh, I've closed it between the two tutorials, my apologies. Excellent. So do you remember this script from the previous tutorial that we have written? So this entire script. So I've only written it here so that I could at least partially explain it and show it to you how the actual script looks like. But then we've managed to translate all of this into a into a format that is suitable for a C++ string, which you can basically just see here. It doesn't look user-friendly at all. I strongly advise you to copy-paste this, as you're bound to make an error here. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into code. I'll just press, I don't have to press Control-C, I can just do this. So I'm copying this part and I will insert it into the keylogger. Okay, so let's expand this. Now we can go ahead and go into the back into the not the timer, but SendMail. Is it here? No, it didn't actually make it. Sorry. So let's go ahead and create it. Empty file. SendMail.h. Save it. Okay. There we go. So do you see how our project is growing? Base64, helper, IO, key constants, SendMail, timer, etc. Well, we're gonna have SendMail, and we're gonna have one more, and that won't be the end of the keylogger. That will be just the end of the initial phase, so to say. Okay, so let's go ahead and begin with our standard guards. So just type in if and def send mail. There we go. Underline H, and okay, so end if has been created there. Define send mail underline H. I'm feeling a little bit under the weather today. Don't know why. Must be the wind or something. Include F stream. We're gonna need a file stream here, and then we will go ahead and type in include vector. So we're gonna need that as well. And now we need the Windows one. So include Windows.h. Next up will be some of our own headers, so we'll need IO, timer, and helper. Let's put those in. Include include io.h. Include timer.h. Include helper.h. There we go. So we created our include statement. Now we're going to go ahead and define our script name. So let's go ahead and type in define script underline name. That's basically how our script will be called. We're defining a variable here, sm.ps1, send mail, PowerShell script, and apparently the extensions for PowerShells are ps1. I don't know. Don't ask me why. Apparently Photoshop has pretty much the same extension, so they had to do something about it there. I'm literally taking this from my head. I'm not exactly sure. Why is it PS1? Okay, so next up, we will go ahead and create our own namespace again. So namespace mail. No, that's mail. Okay, there we go. Now we're going to go ahead and type in define x underline em underline 2. And now we shall type in the mail to which we wish to send this. Now I have created an email here, and by the time we actually publish this tutorial, this email will be non-existent, so we will delete it completely. So by the time that you actually manage to see this email by the time that this is actually published onto Udemy, this email will be long gone. Actually, I will completely delete the mail because it is only used here for testing purposes, for demo, so that I can show you how does this keylogger function, basically. How does it take the information and how does it send them? So this email will be gone by the time it is published. So you specify one email, which is to. So who are you? That's the email address. You specify one email address. So who are you sending it to? And then you have from. So who are you sending it from? And you might notice that both of the email addresses are exactly the same. This is due to the fact that you can actually send this to yourselves. And down below, we will need, it's very convenient because you can actually send it from the same email to the same email. You only need one email address. And down below, we will type in the password. So as I said, this email will be deleted anyway, but these are real credentials. Anyway, if you're wondering why you're not hearing the sound of the keyboard, it's because my sound got messed up, and I am now just doing the recording of the sound on top of the recording of the video, which is a new and very interesting experience, I might say. So it's jobs.abt.kl@gmail.com, and you can see down below that the password is like, I don't know, it's a bit strange. It's a good password, I would say. Jobs.abt7.kl would be kind of hard to crack in any case. But these will be the parameters which will be placed into the PowerShell script within the string which we will form. Now let's go ahead and copy paste this, because I will have this file for you so you can copy paste this as well, because this is copy paste this into your code, because this is a bit difficult to write, not in a technical sense, but just in terms of nerves, and you are very likely to make an error here. So this is the entire PowerShell script, which you see here before you. This entire script has been placed into this. So we had to use like new line characters, and we had to place this in a specific order. It has to be very strict in a sense that everything has to be perfect. You cannot afford any mistakes or spelling errors or anything like that, because it's not even going to report them in the compiler here, because we're just putting a string, putting the words into a string, characters into a string. And down below, you could, so these three values are tied to these three values down at the end. That is very important for you to remember. This is where you need to change the email address and the password for the email. It's very simple. It's made in the simplest possible way. You come in, you change the email, and then the keylogger actually sends the information to that particular email address. So this is the place where you should make all the modifications, not in the script or anything like that. Okay. So that should be pretty simple. You should be able to change the mail without any problems of whatsoever. You can, in fact, use two completely separate email addresses, or you can use one. It doesn't make that much of a difference. at all, it's fine. It works without any problems either way, as long as it's all Gmail. Previously, I've stated that you can use pretty much any other mail client. I don't see the reason for it. You just need to make minor modifications to the code. Now, down below, we will actually undefine these 3 variables. So one after another. Why are we doing this? I don't know, to protect the contents of the strings to an extent or whatever, but don't think that's gonna help us that much. The future versions of this keylogger will actually be deleting the script. So the script that gets generated in the future versions of the keylogger, these scripts will be deleted by the keylogger upon use. So it uses them, it successfully sends a mail, and then they are deleted. So it will either be that way, or we will use some sort of encryption in order to encrypt these PowerShell scripts as well, so that they cannot be read by anybody who might come across them as well, which is very important, as they do contain some of the sensitive information, such as the mail address, password, etc. This is a bit strange watching myself show things and demo them on the screen and then talk about them, because I don't know what I was talking about at every particular point in time. So if I just move my mouse over the screen, you can see that this is being played in the VLC player. It's just ongoing, and I'm talking in the background. Anyway, now we're going to go ahead and write a function, string replace. String replace will take 3 separate arguments. One of those, the first argument will be the string itself. The third argument will be something, a parameter, who will contain a pattern, which we will look for in the script. Hence, it is called what. So what is it that we are looking for within the script, within the string itself? Sorry, not script, string. And then the third parameter will be a pattern with which we intend to replace that which we have found. So we're looking for a pattern that is placed in what variable, and then we're going to replace that pattern with what is placed in the with variable. So what are we looking for, and what are we replacing it with? Where are we looking it for? Well, within the given string. However, we're gonna need some if statements to create some set of logic conditions, which will enable us to perform this, and they will prevent errors to an extent. I love it how code blocks is helping me out, and I'm like paying no attention of whatsoever. So first of all, if what is empty, so if the pattern that we want to look for does not exist, well, then there is no point to do anything. Just go ahead and return the string. That is it. No need to go any further. Now, we're going to have size t, sp, which will be equal to 0. This will basically be iterating through the string one. This will be used for iteration through the string one position at a time. Sp stands for string position. Gotta place a semicolon here. Please place it. Yes. Thank you so much. So now we're going to go ahead and enter a while loop. So string position will gain the value of s.find, and then we will specify what we're looking for and where we would like to start looking it for. Since the initial value is 0, it's going to begin from the very beginning. Yes, because the enumeration starts from 0 always, almost always. So as long as this is not equal to the string npos, which will be our string for termination, sort of, as long as this is not equal to the string npos, go ahead and continue this loop, because as long as it is not equal, the condition in the while loop will be evaluated to true. So this will always be true as long as it is not equal to NPOS. By the way, my explanations are always very far from perfect, so I make an error here and there. It's kind of difficult to actually create the code and talk about it. It drives a man insane, to put it mildly. And down below, we will go ahead and begin the replacement, the procedure for actually replacing replacing characters within the string. So SP, and then we have the length of what, and then we're gonna have width. So what are we replacing with what? And then we're gonna also increase the string iterate over the string position, and we will add the value of width.length. So if we have taken the width out, we need to know the length, and then we will actually replace it as well. Upon modifying this string, we will go ahead and return the modified string back to us. So that is what we are going to use. Just checking out the timer. Okay, so not long. I can't wait to actually go back to the typing and explaining at the same time. It's kind of weird looking at myself and trying to explain things while I'm looking at myself doing these things, because, you know, sometimes I'm amazed at how stupid I can be, and sometimes it's actually a refreshing sight. But most of the time, it's just like, how are you that stupid? I'm continuously telling that to myself. See, for example, I've typed BOLL instead of BOOL, which is amazing to say the least. Next, we're gonna have a Boolean, basically, to check if the file exists at all. And to this function, we will go ahead and pass constant reference to a string. I always mix those two up. Anyway, we're gonna be giving it some sort of a string that it needs to go ahead and examine. So you have if stream, input file stream, on a particular file that will be given, and then you have a return value down below, which is basically just checking if the file exists or not. If it does exist, it will return false. It will return true. If it does not exist, it will return false. It's a very simple function, nothing too complex there of whatsoever. And this day has been absolute hell. The microphone stopped working. The connection crashed on the virtual machines, which was an interesting experience because I needed for copy pasting between the machines. And then, I don't know, the sound on my other computer didn't work, where I wanted to test the computer, where I wanted to test the microphone, which was also infinitely interesting. So yeah. Anyway, I'm running a little bit short on time here, and we shall see each other in the follow-up tutorial. Sorry for whining a little bit, but it has been a hell day.